Hello folks, and welcome to a slightly odd episode. I had a request, which is also first, so cheers lad. Now, the request was a how-to on MR and, gearbox mod. So, I'm trying this screen capture malarkey and, well, yeah, I've got a messy desktop, but I'm going to guess that's not entirely a surprise. But anyway, so what we have, I'm going to do my bestest to get through it and just explain what I did, because I don't claim to be any great expert, but I have got it working. So I'll just show you what I did, and hopefully that will help. So for more realistic, I can't get to this page from I always get it through Google, but you could probably just go to the farm simulator site and then just if you click on a different game. But what I do is, and I'll show you, go back one, there you go, just Fs17 more realistic, Google it and Bob's your auntie. Gives you a hit, you click on it. So there's that one. Now there's the more realistic game engine. That's the bit that I want, to be blunt. You can see there it has support for the modern classics, the Ropa, the Platinum, even the Straw Harvest, which I never got on because I didn't see the point. It didn't interest me, so fair enough. But it's all there. Now there is a more realistic gameplay. Now I'll be honest with you, I have that in. I am not entirely sure what difference it makes. I can't really notice a huge amount. One of the things it claims is that you will get a more realistic reward given how much effort you put in, so to speak. So for the sake of argument, bales are a bit better because you have to put more work in to get them. And the prices, you'll no longer have green and red prices actually play out the way they should. Now I'll be honest, I never noticed that as being a huge issue, but apparently it was, so it's there. So that's that one. Now that's the easy bit. There's that. There's then the more realistic gameplay. Now if you want blow by blow as to what's going on, then there's this next bit here. I'm not sure if that's big enough, hopefully it is, but anyway, we'll go to that. Now this is the more realistic wiki. I have this on a separate tab, but then again, you can see hopefully the and I'll put links for this in the description, but you can see there it's got every single step. Now the bit I would draw your attention to is the seeding and fertilizing. They have, with more realistic, a flow rate related to speed. So if you are going uphill and you are struggling to keep going, your fertilizer rate slows. Whereas if you're going downhill, you use more, and it's almost like a land drive, which well, it sort of works, but I'll just get to it there. Right, so all MR sprayers and spreaders feature speed dependent flow rate, which is basically land drive. And I'm not sure, I know a lot of the stuff I used was land drive, but I have to bear in mind that's getting on for 30 years now, so but I'm sure they've got a very complicated technical GPS orientated version for doing the same thing as what land drive did. But yeah, so that's why I have it, because it interferes with all manner of things and just gives a more rounded experience. So that's more realistic, and now that is enough in itself, I would say, to completely change the game. Now whether you like it or not, that's the one, that's the stage I would put those two in, the engine and the gameplay, and I would leave that for a few days. Just give yourself a chance to get used to it and see what you think. If it is something that you like, there's the next stage, and that's this boy. And this is the one I put a link in for in a previous video. I'll put it in again for this one. I'll put all these links in just to keep things simple. And this is again more realistic, but now you're expanding, so quality is not guaranteed. I have to say I've only had one so far that was a bit off, and I had to take it back out because it was upsetting. Most of them work. Now if you go up to support on the right here and FAQ, there you have step by step how it works from the man who made it. So you can't ask for better than that. Now the data bank, it is literally as it says. It's actually called that, and you open that up, and I'll show you that in the file browser in a minute. You open that up, and the just a quick word, I might have forgotten this, so we'll add this in hopefully by the magic of editing. This is how the more realistic XML databank looks, and it sits there. There's no FS in front of it, so it will be towards the bottom of your mod folder, and you just double click on it, and anything you've downloaded over here, which I assume it will download to your desktop, or at least that to me would be a sensible thing to do, you select and then you pull it in and you pop it in there, and then that's it, and it's as straightforward as that. And as you can see, oh okay, well I seem to have done that twice. Oh no, that's each individual bit, right? So yeah, and that's it. That's as complicated as it gets. You download the XML, you go to your Farming Simulator folder, mods, get to that one, which is there's your mods. Open that up, and you've got all this rubbish here. You go down at the bottom, and there you go, XML databank. There you go, that. And on with the show. Once you've gone through this bit, I'll go back, and then we go to that, and there you go. And basically this is what you click on that because you say, oh, I like that one. Now you can download the XML, which is what you need, but even if you don't have the tractor or whatever it is and you want to look, well, you get a link to the original up here. So I've done it where I haven't used the XML, but I've just kept the tractor because I like that Deutsch. I haven't seen it anywhere else. It's obviously out there, but I haven't seen it. So it's a very good system. It's really simple, well thought out, and there's quite a lot of stuff. Now and again you will get this, and that just means that either there's multiple mods carried, or whoever did it hasn't put in an icon. And what you'll find in game is it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. Absolutely not. In game you will get two versions. You will get an MR and you will get a mod. And that's it. It makes no difference whether there's a picture here or not, but it's just sometimes nice to see what's going on. What the heck is that? Right, see now there's when I just, well, look at that, 3 months ago. So this is what I'm saying. It's 2017. It was last up and running, and that's 3 months ago. So that's the tail end of 2019. So there's people still contributing. Now you do have to watch file types, and it tells you here. Go back to the FAQ. It says here to make sure that your file types are, and it tells you what it should be. And it gives you the example. I've again not found one that is not the correct format. So it could happen, but so far I've not found one, and I've gone off the beaten path to the ones at the very end who were done i.e. they were done right at the very beginning, so they might not be the best. They're all the right, so whoever's done them, they've gone right through them all, and I've yet to find one that isn't the correct one. So basically you download your XML, throw it in the file they tell you about, and Bob's your auntie. That's you, you're away. So that is, to me, that's how I learnt it, and it takes a wee bit of getting used to, and it may or may not appeal to you. It's a bit like Seasons. It can be a bit of a Marmite experience. You either think, oh, this is fabulous, or maybe not. So, and as I say, I'll put all these links in. Now, the Gearbox add-on. The first thing I would say, if you can say again, it's a Google search. It's very simple. It's a Google search, and there's Mowgli's got a GitHub page, and at some point you should get, I think it's usually about the 4th or 5th hit. But there's also this, and I'll put a link to this, and this is brilliantly done. Now this is in glorious detail, but the reason I like this is this section here, all these, well actually to there, I took a picture of that when I first started, and I had a picture of that on my phone because I didn't have two screens at that point. I now have two screens, which I appreciate most people don't, but take a picture of that with your phone, you have that beside you while you're playing. Now, you're forward and back and what have you, you're more than likely going to get the hang of that. It's just for remembering which one does which diff lock. And it's just a handy mode, but the whole article goes on for, I'll just get rid of that, for quite some time. And it explains it in glorious detail. I've gone through that a couple of times now. I haven't got the Mowgli website, so I'll show you how it works. Fs17 gearbox mod. Pada! And we get yeah, Ian Robinson. He's great at doing that. There you are. There's your GitHub one. Okay, it's a wee bit further down than I said, and that's what you get to. So you get that, click on there, then download zip. Do you know what, we'll just do that, shall we? Right, so bottom left corner you can see I use Chrome, so that's where it comes up. Woo. Takes a wee whiley. And where are you? There you are, that one. I'm just updating my alright, it doesn't actually know what size it is. Well, okay, fair enough. So this, as you can see, is most of it has not been updated for quite some time. It's quite settled now. There was a bit of a to-do between the guy who does this and More Realistic. This is the version, as far as I can see, that plays nicely with More Realistic. Right, so there we are. I'll get rid of that. Now, put that there so you can see what I'm doing. Now I have 7-zip, WinZip, or something similar, whatever your preferred choice is. It's absolutely fine. I like 7-zip just because it's nice and straightforward. And do that. So we extract it, pull that over. I'm only pulling over here so you can see it easier. Now we do that. So now you've got the two zips there. The reason you have this is if you decide that you're going to, like, that's a sample mod which shows you when you open that, that shows you how you do it. And if you want to go into, it's way beyond me, absolutely way beyond me. Hats off to modders. I just appreciate them. There's no way I'm going to be doing one. But there you go, Gearbox add-on, poof, away you go. And that's kind of it, really. The add-on, that gives you the add-on and the add-on config. That just expands the number of tractors that are there. This hasn't got the same level of support. It's more realistic, which is a real shame. Now, the big thing is, if I do that, now see here, I don't know if you can read that, but it's gear shift and thrustmaster. That's why I have them, because I can make use of them. I also use the Cytec a wee bit, but mainly it's because of the wheel and the shifter. That how-to that I pointed out, that one, that gives you the stock buttons for changing gears and what have you, and explains why it works for some and not others. The CVT is just an automatic. Okay, that's a simple version. It's a constant varying transmission, but it's an automatic. It just doesn't have it, or stepless automatic they might call it now. And tractors have been using that for quite some time. So that's you now got all the bits in. So make sure I fire up the right one, that would be good. So wake that up. Yeah, I've got a thing about bull lifts. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Yes, the bit you never see. Come on. I don't know why people think I'm impatient. Alright, why are we not going to sound then, eh? Why have I not got any sound? What's that? Right, you're recording. You're at 100%. Why have I not got any sound? That's odd. Anywho, that probably works in my favour, to be fair. So unlike 19, you have to do your buttons outside of it. So if we're more realistic, it's irrelevant. There's no real controls as such. So gearbox, as you can see here, there's a full set of the ones you actually need built in, default bindings. Now I would put it to you, unless you're using a wheel with pedals, using a clutch or asking for a clutch is going to be more hassle than it's worth, unless you really want to. That's just fair enough if you do, because unless you're going for a really old girl, most of the ones from mid 80s onwards had some version of power shift, so you would only actually use the clutch for moving off. You change ratios, as in high, low, medium. You would change that stationary, and then you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if it's a John Deere it's 4 and whatever else. But you'd have those gears, and they call it, some call it a power shift or dyna shift or whatever, quadra power. They all have their different names. It's always the same thing. It's a fancy clutch that basically, as soon as you come off the power, it engages, you knock it into the next gear, back on the power, and off you go. That's it. And the power shift was basically a way of doing that without actually coming off the power, so they stepped it up again. Anywho, what I wanted to show you was there's the clutch. Now that's on my pedals, but I've gone too far down. There's a shock. Excuse me while I make a complete mess of it. Now that's drive control. Now drive control actually plays absolutely fine with gearbox. I don't bother with any of those other than that. But as far as drive control goes, the only thing I do is I make sure that your differential locks and your and your all-wheel drive is exactly the same 3 buttons that you're going to use for the other one, for gearbox mod, and also changing your direction. That's the 4 that count. But yeah, we'll just gloss over that. That was not my best idea. Now there is an MR user interface. I can't say as I've ever opened it, so I can't tell you what's in there. I've never felt the need to open it to investigate what's going on. It just works as far as I'm concerned. Now if I was, and it's not often I say this, but if I was picky or pickier, then yeah, perhaps I would go in and tinker with it. But to be honest, it's just absolutely fine. I like the way it works. I don't think, if it's good, leave it alone. So here's the gearbox bits, and there you can see there. Now this is all covered in the how-to as well, and there's the bit that makes it awkward for a lot of people. I have a shifter, so I have them all assigned, but there is an option for doing automatic, and that's really it, to be honest. The eco, I have no idea what that's meant to be. To me it just makes it gutless, so I don't know what that's meant to be. Handbrake, you definitely need that, because if you've got more realistic and the gearbox on, it is liable to run away. Unless you are on a relatively low slope and you're almost stationary when you get out, you might get away with it. If you're on a slope and you jump out and it's already moving, it won't stop, it just keep on going. So handbrake actually works, and once you get into the way of it, it feels more natural, so to speak. Well, to me anyway. So that's kind of it. Now I don't know how clear that was. Hopefully it was clear enough. Well, I suppose what we could do, well, that's really how I set it up, to be honest. It was the 2 more realistic mods off the mod hub, and for me it was actually about 3 or 4 weeks later I thought, no, I want to expand this. And you find your mod, and it was actually Species that found that 800, that Fent 800, which was fabulous, and I just thought, oh, it's a pity that isn't MR. And that's when I went digging and I found that XML database, and hey presto, it's in there. And then that was it. That was just down the rabbit hole after that. So hopefully that clarifies things a wee bit. The how-to wikis are excellent resources, and you can take your time as much as you like. And I'm told, I don't know, but I'm told they even play nice with Google Translate. So should English not be your first language, and I'm crap because it's my only language, with smatterings of other languages, but well, smatterings of English a lot of the time. But anyway, so yes, if you need to swap it to another language, apparently it's phrased that it plays quite nicely with that. So there's a how-to. If there's more that you need me to do, as I say, it's a lot of it is down to the peripherals I have, and I am a spoilt brat. I put my hand up. I have a wheel, I've got 3 pedals, I've got the gear stick, and I've got the HOTAS. I'm absolutely spoilt rotten, and I love it, absolutely love it. But if you follow the how-to on the wiki, you can do gearbox and you don't need any bits other than a mouse and keyboard. You just have to stop and think about what you're actually going to use, because there's a lot of controls that you're never going to use. I never use indicators. In a single player game, it makes no difference. The cars don't react to it in any shape or form, and the few times I've been on multiplayer maps, you can still get absolutely T-boned because folk don't pay attention, and especially if they're in something that's a bit quick, they just go wee, and if you happen to be turning, well, that's unfortunate. And also this predilection they have on servers of having all your lights flashing all the time, it's just kiddie stuff. I'm sorry, it's just kiddie stuff. So I have hazards, not hazards, I have the beacons, because yeah, you would use them, and I have used them, but having hazards and indicators and what have you going when you're in a field, that's just nuts. So I don't bother with it. I'm never going to use it. If it made a difference, I would find a way to use them, but as it has no effect on the game whatsoever other than making a little light blink, which is entertaining for about at least 10 seconds. But there you go, that's now 3 buttons that you can use for something else. Because what a lot of people do is use the WASD for your movement, and then your right hand over the number pad, that's where they work out all their gears. Which still leaves room for shenanigans with the mouse for controlling other stuff. So anyway, just to give you an idea or two. Right, well, before I blither on too much, I'm going to leave that there and try and get this rendered and put some links in and all that groovy stuff, and get it up as soon as possible. So if you've got this far and it's been helpful, excellent. If it hasn't, tell me why, and I'll either try and do it better or do a better one the next time, assuming there is a next time. And if I'm talking too fast, which I have been told I do in the past, then by all means just be as critical as you like, because I want to get better at it. As simple as that. I could well be doing quite a bit of this, it turns out, so hey, I might as well try and be good at it. Right folks, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was vaguely informative, and yeah, yes, any questions in the comments below, I will do my bestest. Alright folks, take it easy, cheers for now.